when I watched his set and like just saw all of the like firsthand accounts of what went down, I was like, okay, that's fucked up. like that is a different story. And then I realized in that moment, I was like, okay, what do we deserve to expect as fans? What do artists actually owe us? Because to me, when Frank Ocean, when he had his Coachella thing, like there were so many people that were mad. And normally, like my perspective on it was the Frank Ocean subreddit, because I joined the Frank Ocean subreddit when I first got on Reddit like 2 years ago or something. Every week, I swear, like the vibe of the whole subreddit was like, Frank was just spotted by this fan in New York City riding his bike. He was wearing this t-shirt, which is the same t-shirt that he wore 2 weeks before the release of Endless. So we're getting new music next week. And then like next week would come and like all the comments would be like, prepare to have your heart broken again. Like this has been happening for 5 years. Frank's not dropping. Of course he wouldn't drop because he never does. But then the whole subreddit would be like, why do we keep following this man? Like, He keeps letting us down. He'll keep making these little hints. He gets back on Instagram like, oh, he's going to drop music. Now he doesn't. Da-da-da-da-da. And then every time like I see that, I'm like, what? Do you think he's on your schedule? Like, why do you expect him to drop this music? And I was like always confused. So I like got off that subreddit. Like 2 weeks later, I was like, I'm sorry. I just can't be a part of this. Like, this is just not how I listen to music. I love a good album rollout. I love when artists like put time into their craft for sure. But with Frank, like everything that he's released has always been high quality, you know, like whichever one's your favorite, whichever era you like the most, like that's cool. But whatever he releases is always high quality. So why do you expect him to be at any point in his process? Like, even if he's still like, you know what, I'm going to take 10 years to just like think about the theme for the next album. Then I'm going to take another, like whatever it is, doesn't matter. But then at Coachella, when I watched his set and like just saw all of the like firsthand accounts of what went down, I was like, okay, that's fucked up. like that is a different story. And then I realized in that moment, I was like, okay, what do we deserve to expect as fans? What do artists actually owe us? And that's when I like posted it to you. I was like, do you think like, is that his onstage creativity, or is that like which parts of the Coachella to you were like crossing a line, and which ones were you like, I kind of get it? You know what I mean?
Well, like first I try and understand the person.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, okay, he's a person at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So let's look beyond the expectancy. Let's look past the word fanatic.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's see if there's a legitimate reason why I should feel wronged.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Like personally wronged.
Right.
Like people took it very personally.
Yeah. Why would
so
he
it's
do
like,
this to us?
okay, the man does suffer from like crippling anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, his first time performing in 5-6 years, and your first performance is headlining Coachella Sunday night to like cap the first weekend. That's like there's Super Bowl stages, there's some big ass festival stages, and then there's fucking headlining Coachella, which is like the different influencer world. Super Bowl. There's that. Also, I don't know the exact timeline, but his brother died like as of late. So like, you know, like that could be, you know, like a trigger point. You know, maybe him and I don't know. But like if like him and his brother really shared this connection through music and through performance, like it could be like, damn, like I'm here without him. He is human at the end of the day,
for sure.
But also you're human just like everyone else. If you obligate yourself to something, you sign up for something, you sign a contract. You sign a contract. Yeah. And it's like, you know, like I saw this post by Complex Music where Frank said, granted, it's 2011. Yeah. I think we all change. We all can adapt and.
I hope we're all different people a decade on.
But he said a decade ago, no matter what the fuck they think I should make, I'll always make what I want to make. And the question that Complex said was like, what do you want people to know about you as an artist? And like that's what he said. Yeah. And it's like from the jump, we've known Frank doesn't make music for us. Right. He makes it for him on his 100%. Timeline. Yeah. So it's kind of like he's also never lied. He's an honest liar. Yeah. Right. Like he's never lied to you, you know, about. He just doesn't post. Like he's told you, hey, I'm a very reclusive like individual, like just from what I get, like I gather. Yeah. So it's like he's I shouldn't say an honest liar. He's just direct. He just doesn't lie. Transparent. Yeah. He's like this is even though it's something that you may not want to hear, you may not agree with and like. He's not lying to you and he's not deceiving you. He's telling you straight up, this is what it is. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, I think. So I kind of took the scenic route to get there, but I felt very passionate about this because I also like, you know, looking at it as a fan, like I think. You know, it's the same way that, like, you know, people feel about athletes. you make $300 million in your contract because I buy your merchandise, because
And
I buy the
tickets.
tickets, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watch the games.
Right.
So it's like, it's like in customer service, like if I am serving you at a restaurant, like I'm at service to you, like I'm doing you a service, right? So it's like you are providing a service to me, which is entertainment.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I paid for this service.
Yeah.
So it's like I paid for these tickets to Coachella. That, granted, there's influencers, that's a whole different thing. But if you're just the average like Smo Joe, nothing wrong with that. Like you and I, right? You're shelling out money for not only the Coachella ticket, but the plane tickets, the food.
dude.
Like you have to try and take time off.
Yeah.
Which is a bitch. Especially if you want to get paid for it, you have to request
Yeah.
vacation. So
Yeah.
it's a journey for us, right? But there's money that goes into Coachella,
Right.
for the average person.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, am I surprised that the events happened with Frank? No. Am I disappointed for his fans that sit there on that subreddit for years, is aching for a performance or for a bone, and then you give your fans the full carcass?
Yeah.
Hey, like, eat up, right? And then it's like you
show up with-
you pull it all away.
Yeah.
You didn't just drop a new song, drop a new EP. You said, I'm gonna headline Coachella,
Right.
And you pulled that all away.
And that's the crazy part to me is like I hear everything about the like I looked at it the same way you did, and like he and his brother were super tight, and like he made the song Orion right after he was born back in like 2010 to 11, like somewhere in that area. And the White Ferrari performance that he put on at Coachella, he told the story of like I had a bunch of different versions for White Ferrari. Like Ryan, my brother, liked one of them, and it was the one I didn't like as much. I forgot if that's the one that made it on the album, or if the one he performed at Coachella was the one. But like either way, it's like, okay, you're going through something. Again, from the subreddit side of like, when is he dropping music? Dude, you're on your own schedule. Like you can do that when you want. But to your like analogy, I think it's perfect of like being at a restaurant. Like if a restaurant only wants to be open for 1 hour a week, cool. Like that's their decision. They get to decide when they're producing what they want to produce. But if they're like, oh, we're open for this 1 hour a week, and somebody floods in, buys tickets to Coachella, flies out, does the whole thing, that's like taking their order in the middle of the restaurant and then never coming back. Like never giving the people their food.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now they've decided to come eat at your place. Like you said, the sacrifice is like they've come here instead of somewhere else. They've spent their money at Coachella and flown there and taken that time off instead of something else. And then when they show up to be like, we're here to support, you're like, no thanks.
Mental health is an absolute priority.
Yeah.
But also part of adulting and, complying with obligations.
Yeah.
Could you beg to like ask the question of, should you have had those areas in check before you signed the contract? If you knew these could be an issue, should you maybe start at a smaller venue, a pop-up event?
And that's
right?
what I was thinking.
Should you ease back into it? If this is in your mind, because look at the fallout.
Right.
You're still going to have fans because you're Frank Ocean. But I think it is going to jade the perspective for a bit. And it really does raise the question that once was left unasked was, is he truly an artist for the fan? But we already know the answer.
He's not.
He's
an
not.
artist for himself.
So
Which
like,
is totally fine.
once again,
Yeah.
I think people may come to that acceptance and lay back for a bit. Like, okay, like, I'm just done with the chase.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm done
Right.
keeping
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I'm done trying to figure this out. Like, I fuck with him. I love him. When he drops, he
I'm
drops.
listening.
But like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find another fandom.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of like someone else, like then the question becomes almost in that same regard of like, okay, now Frank has dropped out of weekend 2. Somebody's got to take his place. Do you think it's going to be somebody like Frank Ocean, or do you think they're going in like a different direction?